So we're in a position where we know now how to assign a value to a variable. So if you wanted rings to be 0 in my game of Sonic, which looks pretty good by the way, how you'll do it would be, in fact you do it first, pause the video and then I'll do it using pseudocode. Okay, what you should have done would be set rings to 0. Now these are rings by the way. But how do we change this 0 to a 1 when Sonic touches a ring and collects it? How do we update, and that's a key word, update the variable value? Tough. Watch. We've got our box, our variable called rings. We've also got a copy of this rings. And let me explain what happens. I'm going to write some pseudocode out for you. Let me just change the color. Rings. Rings plus 1. And what will happen is this. Let's just do an arrow to here as well. If we've got 0 in the box to start off with and we collect a ring, our program will see how many rings we've got to start off with, which would be 0. It will add 1 to 0, so it'll do a little sum. 1 add 0, which would equal 1, and it'll turn it, give it back to the variable, say okay, it's 1, and that's how it updates it. So literally what happens is every time we update a variable, just like this, it takes, let me just undo the little boxes and go through it again one more time. It takes how many rings we've got. So this is where it checks to see how many rings we've got. In this case 0. It will add 1 because every time we collect a ring it will add 1 to it. It will total it as 1, and it will give it back to this basically and say okay, update it now, it's 1. So that's what happens down here. It's got 0 and it copies it over 1. So let me give you another scenario when we have to update a value. Let's take lives. Let's imagine we're playing a game and somebody shoots our character. In the head. And every time we get shot, we lose a life. Let's imagine that we start off with lives is 3. Or set lives to 3. If that bullet hits our head, we're going to lose a life. So let's update the variable. So, lives equals, so this arrow means equals, lives, not plus this time, but take away 1. So what happens? Sees how many lives we've got, which is 3. It takes away 1 from that. It will give us 2, and this will basically change to 2, which changes this. So I'm going to give you a challenge to update a variable. In our card game, where you've got to guess what's on the other side of a card, playing card, I would like you to basically assign a value to the variable called number of guesses and start it up at 0. And I want you to imagine someone's just had a guess. I want you to update that variable by +1. Pause the video, give it a go. Okay, here's the solution. You should have done set number of guesses to 0. You then should have done number of guesses equals number of guesses. This is going to go onto the playing card. +1. Now let's imagine that we didn't want it to go up by 1. We wanted the variable to go up by 5. So let's imagine that we are playing a game, and when you collect an apple, this is an apple by the way, then you get 5 points. I want you to give that a go and then show me. Create a program which will basically set a variable, assign a variable called points, and when you touch an apple, make it go up by 5. So update the variable by 5. Show me.